Aloha and welcome to Spirit Chat. So, today I'm going to be doing another energy report. I'm trying to keep up on these for you guys, especially if I'm noticing any shifts or changes. Not to mention, if I go too long in between them, I get emails and questions in my groups wondering where's the energy report? What's happening? Everything feels crazy. So, I'm going to try to make sure I'm doing them at least weekly for you while we're going through all this craziness. Not to mention the texts and calls I get as well. And I am putting together some other stuff for you as well. I'm going to be talking about that a little bit more towards the end if you are interested, because it actually goes with this energy report. So if you're interested in, if you're healing stuff, if you're interested in healing stuff or health or just different aspects like that, it'll be something that I will talk to you about at the end, just to throw that out there so you know it's available. Anyways, let's get into what's going on energetically. So, right now, the energy is kind of alleviating a little bit as far as the spiritual realm goes. So, in the spiritual energy aspect and the universal energy aspect, there is some alleviation or lifting. So how I was talking about before, how there was like these groups of spirits that were banning, or not banning, but grouping together, I guess I would say, how they were working together in no good ways, trying to create like a more dominant force in a way that I haven't seen in the past. A lot of those groups are starting to dissipate, tire, lose their drive behind it, and we're starting to see that lift a little bit and alleviate a little bit. I guess you could think of it somewhat kind of like the virus we're talking about or has been going around. It's just like once things start to kind of, like when flu season sort of gets over or something like that, you can imagine it the same way. It's kind of the spiritual energy that was really heavily focused upon negativity and such is starting to lose its grip. I guess I would say that's a good way to put it. And truthfully, what I'm noticing is I'm noticing a correlation between that spiritual energy and the strength behind it, especially when you're talking about negativity and the way that this particular situation happened, where the spirit energy got way crazy on a very negative scale. And they seem to be, uh, grouping together more powerfully than I've ever seen. Actually, normally they don't group together. That actually, weirdly enough, but not weirdly enough, seemed to correlate with how much information the news was putting out, which I found kind of interesting. It makes total and perfect sense to me, however, because spirits work on a vibrational scale. And when you scare the bejesus out of everybody and you put a lot of negative media out there without, balancing that with hopeful media or balancing it with good energy, positive energy, in any kind of light, if that energy, if that frequency starts to ripple through, countries and states and in a really intense way, then any negativity as far as the spirit world goes, any negative frequency can attach itself to that, and it can draw power from people and fears and worries, which is what the media had been doing. Now, I don't think necessarily the media shouldn't be reporting what they were reporting per se. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. I'm That's a whole nother podcast. If we get into all the media stuff, that's a whole nother thing, but I don't want to get into that now. But what I'm saying is there does tend to be a strong correlation with the type of spirits that are attaching to that type of energy. So when you have a very scared society, a very fearful society, they draw a lot of power from that. A lot of power is going to be pulled and expanded and created from that as well. So then it's like a catch 22. You've got the low vibration that starts to activate, and then you have the spirits that come in and then attach itself to it, and they feed off each other, and then they both become more powerful. Then it starts to, grow one and one grows the other type of thing. Anyways, that is starting to dissipate. It's starting to lose its power, and that's probably an indication also of people starting to settle down a little bit in their fear. Now, that doesn't mean that people are not fearful. I guess a better word would be they're kind of adjusting to it a little bit better, where they're not as fearful as they were when this first started being reported. People are starting to kind of get used to, yeah, the food's still coming, and a lot of places are still working and that sort of thing. So we're definitely going to see a reflection of that as far as the frequency goes in the spirit realm. Now, if you're sensitive, the cool thing about that, the really great thing about that, is you're not going to feel the heaviness from a spiritual aspect and the physical aspect at the same time. So if you're sensitive, what happens is you will get the anxiousness and the anxiety from the physical people that you're around, but then you add another layer of the spiritual component. And if you're noticing that the spiritual realm is also of low frequency and it's sort of blanketing everywhere in a low frequency, now you have a double whammy. You're getting it from the physical world and the people who you're around, the people energy. And then you layer that with spiritual low frequency. And then it's just like, oh, if you're sensitive, it just feels horrible. It feels weighted. It feels like just anxious, anxiety, not even really knowing where to place it, kind of knowing because there's stuff going on, but not realizing the weight and the heaviness that comes with low vibration energy. And then you're getting it from two places. So it's like you're trying to find any way to alleviate out from underneath of it, and yet you're feeling smothered and weighted down by this really low vibration energy. So yay, that's lifting. Yay, that is lifting. That started a couple days ago, and that will continue to lift because I am also seeing the intention of the spiritual energy shifting. And that means that, again, that's an indication that people are now adjusting to this energy. So they're like just getting a little bit bored of it, in a sense. Some are very, very fearful, but, there's going to be the boredom factor that's going to start coming in. The other thing that's kind of going on energetically is we have some really jagged energy coming in. And what that is going to relate to is it's going to relate to what I'm seeing with is actually money. So this really choppy energy that's coming in right now is going to relate to like a money energy or a frustration. And so something that you might experience along the lines of that would be like you might experience unexpected bills, unexpected things that you have to deal with that you're just like, oh, really, really do I got to deal with this right now? Like, I am so not in the mood to deal with this. Unexpected things may be breaking, which again might, kind of fall into the unexpected bills category, but maybe you can fix it on your own, things like that. A lot of ups and downs where you're like, oh, okay, well, doesn't matter, I got to fix this or handle this situation or whatever. And then you're going to feel like, oh, okay, I'm kind of adjusting to that. And then wham, it's going to be another aspect of it. And you're like, oh, this, like, I thought I was resolving this. And why does it seem like it didn't get resolved, or there's just another layer to this, Actually, that will probably last through the weekend. It looks like it's going to be going into the middle of next week, and then that choppy energy will then start to mellow out. You'll imagine it like if you know, are in the ocean or something, you have like a super heavy storm coming through with really choppy energy, and then that kind of starts to level out. So that choppiness is going to go away. So if you have any unexpected bills or any unexpected things that you have to deal with, and if the whatever you're dealing with kind of repeats itself, or they kind of fall on top of each other, like there's one thing and then it's another thing, and then it's just like, oh, what the heck, you know? Then that's just kind of par for the course right now with the energy. The other thing is relationships and sort of adjusting around relationships. That's being fun right now for a lot of people. I also am finding or seeing and feeling with this energy, with this partner type energy or people who are close to you, there seems to be a little bit of a illusion there. And what I mean by that is there's probably a lot of people whose partners or kids or just people who are close to them in their life that are sort of hiding their anxieties. And it's coming out in a way that they might be like snippy or snappy, or they might be up and down with that energy, like that choppy energy where they're really good for a minute and then they're irritated and ticked off another minute, and then they're good again, and then it's just like, you know, like, you're just being all over the place. I'm not really sure how to read this. So that is really related to some underlying anxiousness that people are sort of hiding, or, you know, maybe they might not necessarily be hiding on purpose. Maybe they're just trying to be like, if I don't entertain this, it's not going to exist. Stuff it down and put a cork on it, type of thing. But it's going to reflect in their behavior. Their behavior is going to be potentially kind of like they're good and okay, and then next thing you know, they're snappy, right? They're snapping at you about different things. So that's going to be something that's kind of fun. The family energy is going to be really strong as far as connections go, and for the next few weeks. So that has a really nice vibe to it for the most part. There will potentially be some hiccupy stuff, but one of the things that I've talked about with some other people is there is a really nice break that people are getting right now. A lot of people, you know, there's people who are worried about work, and I understand that. And there's people who are, you know, worried about being at home, or they're bored, or whatever that, you know, that may be, where they're kind of struggling. But you know what? This is almost like you're kind of an adult with a snow day for most people. Remember snow days when you were in school? And adults tend to really force themselves to not take any snow days, I guess I would say. They're always on. They always have responsibilities. They always have to tend to something. They have to go somewhere. They have to do something responsible. And spirit-wise and universal energy-wise, as far as the energy works, you know, this is a rest time. This is supposed to be a rest time for everybody. And even if it's something that maybe you don't want to happen, the situation is it is happening. So it would be most beneficial to you in a spiritual aspect, and probably as from a manifestation aspect as well, if you relax into it is what it is. It's not going to be forever. It's a temporary situation. And take this time to do things that you normally wouldn't do. Take some of this downtime. Take some, you know, soul searching time. Enjoy feeling healthy and good, and instead of worrying about if you might not feel healthy and good. That's another thing is that's kind of coming along with this is there's some split energy coming in with this, and this is going to last for a little while, and this is the stuff that I want to be talking to you about as far as future stuff is going to go. I have been receiving and downloading, channeling a lot of information from my guides and my counsel. It's something I really don't necessarily talk about all the time, but it is how I get a lot of my information. And I am receiving a lot of really important information that I'm going to be putting into a healer summit, and I'm going to put that link down for you. But if you listen to me, or you're on my email list, you might have found or seen the email come across on the Healer Summit. I just really want to make sure, if you're on my text list or any of that, you might see this 2 or 3 times. It's going to be happening on April 7th, which I believe is next Tuesday. Anyways, and there is going to be really a lot of interesting information that I've gotten. It's too much information to put in a podcast. It is called a Healer Summit because I've created it for people who are interested in the healing field, who are developing in the healing field, who are currently in the healing field, and that means energetically, medically, whatever. But, there's a lot of spiritual and energetic information that is going to be in this healing summit. So it's going to be live. If you are interested, you definitely want to check that out. It's going to be $49. I am charging for it. It's a lot of information. It's definitely a class that I realized. So basically what has happened, which I'm going to get into the split energy a little bit, is there is some split energy happening as well. So kind of bear with me if I'm sort of back and forth between the Healing Summit and this. One of the things that you might be noticing right now is there's a lot of split energy between earth energy and physical energy. And that would be when you would be seeing things like storms, earthquakes, different things happen earthwise. And this split energy is going to be happening for a little while now. It's going to be going in all over the globe. And you're going to find that there may even be some smaller versions of split energy in your town, maybe not an earthquake or something like that. But what's happening with this split energy between the physical and the earth energy is you're going to find that something might shift your focus immediately from being in this people energy all the time. It might just, there's going to be things going on that might just cause you to have to deal with that certain situation right then and right there, as opposed to just being all wrapped up in what's happening as far as, the COVID situation goes. And that is something that people might be going, really, especially if you're somewhere where there's a tornado or an earthquake or whatever. But it's almost like the energetic world, it's almost like people are having energetic PTSD from everything that's kind of happening. And they're so wrapped up and so focused upon what possibly could happen, what might happen, and how do we know about this, and how do we know. It's almost like the earth is going snap out of it. Like there's other things to your physical and your earth existence. There's other things happening. And so it's like there might be some things happening with it. If you're experiencing split energy or feeling split energy, you will probably be experiencing things that are just really tending to draw your focus immediately. Like I said, it could be weather related, could be earthquake type situations, but it might just be a situational thing in your life. And the point of this is you can't go so far down that rabbit hole and pull yourself out of it very well after the fact of whatever is going to be going on down the road, which is going to be recovery, and it's going to be positivity, and it's going to be the economics recovering and all of that sort of thing. It's going to be hard to pull yourself back out of that rabbit hole if you stop, if you just keep digging into the rabbit hole. So the energetic component that's starting to happen is it's almost like there's a universal energy wave coming through that is trying to shock people back out of of the energetic PTSD that they're getting from just being so heavily focused in a way that is not necessarily appropriate. And so what I mean by that is there are way too many sensitives, those who are sensitive and they feel the anxiety and they feel the heaviness of the spiritual energy that is now lifting, and they do have people around them that are fearful. It's like there's so much of that that they forget to pull their head out of the rabbit hole, and then they just get deeper and deeper and deeper. And this is not what you're going to want to do, because the split energy is going to continue on, and that is going to affect some other things in life, and that's where that healing summit comes in. So I want to talk a little bit more about that healing summit that I was talking about earlier. Anyways, this is going to be a live streaming talk that I'm going to be doing. You may have seen it through my email list or my groups or wherever. I really am going to try to make sure it's everywhere, so anybody who wants to attend live and has questions, can go ahead and ask me questions. If you want to attend the Healer Summit and you can't because of the time, there will be a replay that's available. Now, this is actually going to be a class. It's something that I didn't realize was going to be a class, but as I've been channeling and receiving a lot of information during this time, energy report stuff and whatnot, during that time, I've also been channeling and compiling a ton of information that has to do with energetic health and healing. This started in a way that I did not realize was going to be a class. I just assumed it was regular information, like when I do my energy reports, because everybody was very focused on health and healing for obvious reasons, including myself, trying to get you guys information on how, this situation it looks energetically. The next thing I know, I am receiving days and days of information, of channeled information through guides. And I thought, this is interesting, super good information, very, very intriguing. I was actually wondering what I was going to get next. And it didn't take long before I realized, wow, this information isn't just kind of random, like energy reports, here's what's going on this week. It was very specific information with a very specific purpose, and it was designed to be a class. And so I started talking to some of my friends who are in the healing field, and I was like, wow, what do you think of this information? And they were just like, yeah, that's amazing. This is super good information. And it was information that I know is meant for a very specific group of people, which is those who are interested in health and healing. If you're in the healing industry, if you're not in the healing industry, that part doesn't necessarily matter. It's just where's your level of interest in energetic health and healing and moving forward in the future as far as health and healing goes. That's what's the important factor here. And I was very specifically guided to teach that very specific group of people, healers, and those who are interested in healing and interested in energetic healing stuff, because this information is going to be utilized for a very long time, not just temporarily. It's going to be some stuff that you're going to want to know about moving forward. So here's what's going to go on in the class. There's going to be some areas that I'm going to address. I'm going to be talking about some new healing techniques. This will be new information for a lot of people who are healers. It's not going to be stuff that you've gone over and heard before unless it's something that you've gotten recently yourself. Then a very interesting scenario or thing that I've learned about what is the new chakra system. It's a new chakra system that is complementing the core chakra system. And I'm going to be talking about this in greater detail, like where it's located, what the purpose is, what you should know about it, why is it happening now, what's the whole purpose, why do we need this information. This one's going to be very interesting. You're going to, as that began to unfold, I was like, wow, this is crazy. It's got a lot of cool factors to it, that's for sure. And then a new healing grid. So I know a lot of you probably work with healing grids and different things, especially if you do energy work, or you might just be interested in healing energy, or maybe you're just new to energy, or looking into healing energy. I don't know. Anyways, there's also a new healing grid appearing. And if you work with energy or you're interested in it, I'm going to show you what to look for. This grid is going to be appearing as people adjust to this new higher frequency we're moving into. And we are in a pocket of transition right now. We are in a very tipsy pocket. And this grid that I'm going to be talking about and showing you what to look for, you can actually learn to manipulate it a little. It seems to have a very strong correlation to people's health, especially right now. It's something that I'm definitely noticing an energetic pattern to. There's a pattern that you can watch for and look for as far as this grid goes, especially, like I said, with the health that's going on right now. It's very interesting. Sorry about the background noise, of course. It's beautiful and sunny here, and everybody is apparently out driving around, even though they're not in anywhere, so I don't know where they're going. But anyways, these three things, like I said, if you're in health or healing, I know some very, very phenomenal healers that have been in the industry for a long time. And they were, wow, they like, yes, this needs to be out there. This is good stuff. They're going to be attending as well. So I do have a few things that I want to tell you about the Healers Summit, just because I know people are going to ask. It is going to be in the link, so if you go to sign up, it's going to be in there. I do want you to know that I am charging for this class. That is going to be one of the questions. Why is this class not free? This class is going to not be near what my other classes cost. It's going to be a one-time fee of $49. And the reason I'm charging for this class is because this information is not for everybody. It's more of a more advanced material, and it was given to me to teach other healers. Healers who are committed to developing their abilities. If you are in a bind or financially strained, I have a ton of other free information out there, such as energy reports, the podcast, whatever. And I'll continue to do that. And that's not for you if you're just feeling stressed or strained. This is for those who are very committed into learning about health and healing and wanting to, soak up as much information. They're ready for this type of class. That's who this is for. But I am charging for it. I do a ton of stuff for free. But that's what I do. I teach. That's part of my purpose. And as I'm teaching, I still have to commit time to doing that, and I still have to exchange my time for paying the light bill. That's just how that works. So who's this class for? This class is going to be for a lot of different types of healers, practicing healers, those in the field already, developing healers who are currently developing, and future healers. Those who are strongly drawn into the healing field and would like to work towards developing their healing abilities. Do you have to be a healer to attend? If you're not interested in healing or learning about healing or developing those abilities, this is not a good class for you at all. If you're interested in health, healing, energetic healing, that sort of thing, then this is going to be something you probably won't want to miss. It's like I said, this has got some cool information in there, especially if you are, not liking the way that you're feeling health wise. And what I mean by that is you feel like, wow, is everything just out of control health wise now? Because that's what this COVID has done for a lot of people. It's made people feel like it doesn't matter whether they're exercising or not exercising, or what age they are. That's not necessarily the case, but that's a perception that a lot of people have. And so, if you're feeling like, is there really any hope anymore for health and healing? And like, come on, then I think that you're really going to love this. I really do. Is this class a beginner's class or advanced? It will be more advanced. There will not be basic stuff in this class. I'm not going to be teaching about the basic chakra system, so I would not recommend it for you if you are that much of a beginner. The information, how do you get it? This information has been channeled from my counsel. This class will also be a channeling session. I will be channeling my counsel during this time, so you will be able to ask questions. And I will talk about that at the beginning of the class, how that works, etc. How long will this class be is going to depend on the amount of questions. I'd plan for an hour, but it could go longer. When you register, it's going to say 2 hours because I didn't want people to get cut off, but it will be between an hour and a half. And what if you want to take it but you can't attend? Like I said, there will be a replay available for you. So I don't want to get into that too much because, I don't necessarily need to. You're going to know it if you want to take the class. If you want to take the class, definitely click on the link and get registered like ASAP because there's not much time left before that's going to happen. You can do a text reminder too, so that's kind of cool. Anyways, I will keep posting more energy reports. I will be back with more info probably next week. So keep that in mind. Always comment below if you have, any questions or you have something to say or if you enjoyed it. I love to read your comments. I try to check within the first 24 hours. However, I have been extremely busy, which is craziness because, what we're supposed to be chilling and relaxing, right? Subscribe and or like if you like the video or the podcast, and or subscribe if you enjoyed it, because at this point, I'm not always putting the podcast out every single time into my email list. If I'm doing them, not always, just depending on how much stuff I got going on. So if you don't want to miss it, you definitely want to subscribe. Anyways, all right. Hopefully you found this helpful, and I will see you soon. Have the most amazing day. Aloha.